In this video, we're going to take a look at some very concerning debt and economic numbers released today. As I'm recording this video, we're going to look at the threat to global security that a collapsing Chinese economy presents as we watch this play out in real time, and some newly released data that we're witnessing firsthand that all point to a massive threat to our food and shelter security worldwide in the coming years. We recently resumed our giveaways, and we're going to announce last week's winner and instructions on participating in this week's giveaway. Now, due to some recent changes in YouTube policy, we have to update our entry process, so stick around to learn a little more about that to see how you can qualify for this week's giveaway. As I'll say at the beginning of these videos each week, the intent is to inform you of events worldwide that will impact you directly in different ways. And based on closely watching what's happening worldwide, I've made decisions in my preparedness journey over the last few years that have altered how I prepare based on what I research. Now remember, gang, there's no need to succumb to fear during these times. If you're getting caught up in anxiety, be careful. Staying informed, I believe, is critical though. I'll also share some updates on preps I've been working on here recently at the end of the video, along with an announcement we'll make soon regarding a job opening with our team here at City Prepping. All right, there's a lot to cover, so let's jump in. Debt. I wouldn't call it a perfect storm just yet, but several alarming economic indicators are coming out right now from the debt numbers, both personal and federal, to a steep rise in homelessness and housing affordability that we ought to take note of right now. Now, first, the U.S. is confronting a historic homelessness crisis, with figures reaching alarming heights. A recent report from Harvard's Joint Center for Housing Studies shows a 12% increase in homelessness in January of 2023, with approximately 653,000 Americans affected, the most significant surge in record. It's a 48% increase by the same metrics used from 2015, just only 9 years ago. Now, there is a direct correlation between the disappearance of low-rent apartments and significant increases in homelessness. And the report also highlights the substantial rise in cost-burdened renters in the 45 to 75,000 annual income bracket, where 41% allocate 30 to 50% of their monthly income to housing alone. As a general financial guideline, housing costs should be no more than 30% of your gross income, and that 30% includes rent or mortgage payments, homeowner association fees, and utilities like gas, electric, water, and internet. Now, amidst wage stagnation and economic hurdles, attaining affordable housing grows more challenging, and rising housing costs force individuals to slash spending on essentials like food, leisure, and utilities, diminishing their quality of life and weighing down the broader economy, affecting both producers and consumers. Now, the inability to afford adequate housing forces individuals to rely on credit cards and loans to cover living expenses, increasing personal debt levels. And with rising debt levels and stagnant wage growth, many Americans face an uncertain future as they struggle to manage their financial obligations amidst mounting economic pressures. And that explains the sudden rise in consumer debt. Now, investors are also pessimistic and increasingly alarmed by the distressed commercial real estate sector, especially as a vital support measure established during last year's banking crisis is nearing expiration. And despite a brief rebound, NYCB's shares have plummeted by roughly 60% in the past week following dismal results linked to its exposure to deteriorating commercial real estate loans, accentuating broader concerns about mid-sized banks' vulnerabilities to this sector's challenges. Now, the National Financial Outlook is concerning as the Congressional Budget Office predicts a significant increase in the U.S. deficit over the next decade. Post-COVID corrections, multiple wars and conflicts worldwide, drags in the supply chain, and the slowing of discretionary purchases, housing construction, and manufacturing are all draining the future prospects of vitality in the economy. And just the interest payments on the national debt are expected to reach historic levels. And despite recent legislative efforts, faster economic growth, and decent unemployment numbers, the overall fiscal situation remains worrying, impacting government spending priorities and financial stability. Now, every year for decades, we have heard the same bad news about this in one form or another. Personal and federal debt has been increasing with no solutions on the horizon. And I'm not going to say the news today is any different, but I will say that stagnant wages, the absolute outer limits of housing affordability, the sudden swelling of homelessness numbers, and the spikes in personal and federal debt are not painting any better picture. Now, if these signs don't combine as elements of a perfect storm in the form of an economic bubble bursting soon, there's no denying that we will all feel the effects somehow. Are you feeling them? Or do you know anyone that is? What are your thoughts? Is this just more of the same, or is this just news with dark clouds of a brewing economic storm we're heading into? Let us know your opinion in the comments below. China. While we can see and better gauge the debt and real estate problems here in Canada and the United States with relative certainty, there's really no denying that housing and real estate are challenges worldwide, even if the reasons and circumstances are different. If you missed our segment last week on China's attempts at a controlled implosion of Evergrande and the ramifications of that on the global economy, you might want to get up to speed on that threat and check out that video. The big question remains in all of that: will the collapse be a contagion that threaten economies worldwide? China's economy is $18 trillion, making up about 18% of the world's GDP. And as the Chinese economy struggles, the likelihood of the CCP turning to divert personal blame by stoking conflict in the South China Sea or making deals with Russia or Iran in exchange for supplying those countries with weapons becomes more likely. For instance, China has inked more deals with Russia since the start of the war in Ukraine, particularly carving up the Arctic region, than it has in its entire previous years of existence. And these deals will have global ramifications that could lead to even more clashes between NATO and Western forces in China, Russia, and Iran in the future. Now, a desperate country will engage in desperate measures, and China may be unable to control its economic implosion. And as a result, it may further ignore its good global citizen responsibilities to feed the economic impulses instead of profiting off feeding a global war industry. And the Chinese government's controlled media narrative distorts the country's fundamental economic challenges right now by masking prevalent social and economic issues like crime, poverty, and drug addiction and homelessness. Still, significant footage is leaking out of the country showing individuals compelled into undesirable jobs or living on the streets, underscoring a deteriorating economy often overshadowed by portrayals of China as a high-tech powerhouse. And what happens when the country, in dire economic straits, turns its manufacturing might towards more directly supplying the war efforts of these hostile nations? We've already seen this by proxy with the North Korea to Russia arms deal, which sent over 1 million artillery shells to Russia. In 2022, Russia expended an astonishing 11 million artillery rounds in its bid for a swift victory in Ukraine, ultimately without success. And with its industrial capacity limited to producing just 2 million more shells annually, Russia has sought to bolster its supply by acquiring an additional million rounds from North Korea. But the question is this: will Russia look to China to address a remaining deficit in its artillery ammunition stockpile? China has repeatedly denied sending military equipment to Russia since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. But however, investigation by The Telegraph found that China has delivered tens of thousands of shipments to Russian military equipment manufacturers. And the same is true for Iran. China has a 4-decade history of supplying Tehran with military components and equipment. And without China's material support, neither North Korea nor Iran would be anywhere close to becoming the nuclear weapons threat that they are today. It is no secret that Iran is waging its own proxy wars by supplying multiple militant groups throughout the Middle East. So it will need more material and support to continue to do this while also reducing what it can provide to Russia. We'll continue to monitor China's economic desperation and the lengths they may go to try to ink deals between themselves and Tehran or Moscow. What are your thoughts? Will they be able to contain and absorb the implosion of Evergrande, by far its biggest failing, a real estate developer? Or will the world order shift under China's economic desperation to a very dark, militaristic posture in the coming months? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Giveaway. This week, we're going to give away a 12-pack of emergency food ration bars for the giveaway. But listen carefully. YouTube has changed how we do things because they no longer show users' emails on the user's about page. We would be able to go to your page in the past and pull off your email address and email you. But because of this change, we can't email you without an email to let you know that you've won. What we have to do now is bring the process of selecting a winner in-house, which helps really reduce all the scammers that typically flood the comments using our logo and telling people that they've won. So to be eligible to win in this giveaway, all you have to do is leave a comment below on this video and submit your name and email on the form that I'll link to in the comments below. Or you can go to cityprepping.com/giveaway. Now that will only go to us at City Prepping. No one else is going to see that information. And we're not going to send you any spam. We're just using this for the giveaway. What I'll do is I'll use a tool to randomly draw a winner from the comments on this video and then reach out to you by getting the information that you submitted in the email submission. So congrats to last week's winner, Marilyn Bushel from New York. we're going to contact you shortly to arrange delivery of the Survival Medicine Handbook. So remember, to be eligible for this week's Survival Bar giveaway, you have to leave a comment on this video, click the like button, and complete the form that we'll link to in the comments below. So good luck. Climate. As you might imagine, when you have built a community site of preppers, gardeners, and homesteaders, as we have at City Prepping, you hear about weather anomalies, once-in-a-lifetime cold snaps, atmospheric rivers, or unseasonable warming patterns in the out-of-the-ordinary patterns worldwide. Now, this is not some scientific study that can be interpreted in different ways. It's firsthand corroboration of the news headlines that we see with increasing frequency. It gives a deeper understanding of the chilling effect of the news that we are seeing about the climate. Now, changes in climate, even slight changes of a degree or two in temperature or an inch or two per month of precipitation between years or decades, can profoundly impact our food supply. And when I say that, I don't just mean that it's going to get cold in some crop field somewhere. It's much more than that. When moisture levels in California, Texas, or Arizona are suddenly too high for a long season, as we see with these atmospheric rivers, whole deserts can be turned into shallow, salty lakes. And the increased moisture, followed by a planting season and a likely high heat spring and summer, will result in an explosion of insects, plant rust, and molds. Now, I picked just these three states, California, Texas, and Arizona, because they collectively make up over a third of the nation's entire agricultural output, and they're all three getting slammed with extreme weather. Now, this is a global problem. With the hottest year on record, which was witnessed in 2023, just last year, followed by the warmest ever January on record just last month, regions in the northern hemisphere are experiencing June-like heat waves, while marine scientists observe prolonged and intense heat at the ocean surface. Now, these extreme events pose a significant risk, with a 1 in 3 chance of this year surpassing last year's record temperatures. The severity of weather-related disasters, exemplified by Chile's deadliest forest fires and California's state of emergency due to an unprecedented rainfall, underscores the urgent need for adaptation efforts to mitigate future impacts. When the warmer and drier weather comes, wildfires will become more commonplace, just as we're currently seeing them in the southern hemisphere summer being experienced right now. Look, the charts everywhere, they don't allow us to ignore this problem any further. We ignore it at our own peril. From sea temperatures to global air temperatures, we're tipping the scale so dramatically in so many categories that we can't just dismiss this as faulty readings or changes in measurement standards. This is a genuine threat to our food and shelter security. Look, let me just pause the video for here just for a second. I know when I bring up this issue, there's always a lot of pushback in the community. There's not a whole lot of the community, but a significant amount that I do need to address this. What I observe and what I report on this channel is just data. I let you interpret it how you want, but it's up to you to understand that we can't ignore this any longer. This is going to be an issue that will progressively impact our supply chain more, or rather our food supply chain more and more and more. And yeah, I don't have to tell you what that means. So this is one of the reasons that, for example, I have been working on a grow shed, which I'll talk about in a moment. I'm trying to find solutions at this moment to continually deal with these significant shifts in weather patterns that will impact how we grow food, even on a personal level, much less on a large scale level that we see in agricultural productions. So wherever you live, even in the most developed societies, our aging infrastructure will continue to be threatened and fail in the face of these extreme weather events. And this is why we heavily emphasize a person's need to prep their food and shelter security. These worldwide events are going to occur with greater intensity, duration, and frequency, enough so that we should view them as a new status quo moving forward and prepare accordingly. Look, there are many warning signs of a more significant collapse in the future, but with each indicator, there's probably a solution you could be plugging in right now that will create a more secure future for you and your family. If you visit our website, cityprepping.com, and click on the guides in the top navigation, it says guides. When you click on it, you're going to see a drop down, and we have multiple download guides covering a range of subjects to inform with different information to help you prepare. I would definitely recommend you go check those out and download them. They're all free. All right, so let's talk about a few updates before we close this up. I have finished my last physical fitness video this week. Just released it a couple of days ago. The playlist is now fully fleshed out. So I would encourage you to go check it out, and we'll have the download guide done shortly. I apologize. I know that's been dragging on. We've just finished it up. We're submitting it to the final editor to get that finalized. So fingers crossed we'll have it done next week. So again, my apologies for that being out a little late, but with the guide and with the videos, you should have everything you need if you want to get serious about your physical fitness. And by the way, before I move to the next point, I have had a lot of people point out, well, hey, I'm active doing this or this, my job. Look, my dad is probably one of the most active men I know at his age. Very physically fit. He's, I believe, 77. I'm sorry, Dad, if I got that number wrong. But he's helped me over the last few years do things, and he's very capable for his age. And I aspire to be in as good a shape as he is when I get his age. But I don't think he's ever stepped a day in the gym. He was always very physical, and he's kept moving. So I say that because please don't imply or assume that just because I say, hey, you need to go work out and do these things, that if you're not active, I'm somehow suggesting you are not physically fit. Whatever it is that you got to do to get up and move, push yourself, you know your body. All I'm trying to say is exert yourself. And if you don't know how to do it or you're not very active, that is the point of that whole course, is to teach you how to get up, move, and do the things that you need to do. I mentioned a second ago, the grow shed. What we did is we finished sealing the drywall last Saturday. We put a lot of caulking in. If you look here in the video, you can see all the different seams around the drywall. Those were all caulked off. Or rather, we add caulking, messing up here, we add the caulking to the drywall, around all the electric switches, light switches, everything. And so tomorrow I'm going to prime the drywall. I had a bunch of things planned for tomorrow. I decided to just clean my plate off and just focus on the drywall. And then after that, I'm going to line it with Mylar. I've already got the Mylar. We just have to spray on a spray and then add the Mylar on. And then we have it done. And it's pretty much set up at that point. And then we can start doing the projects. I will be honest, the project's been so slow because I've been tied up on 100 different things. As I've grown this channel, what I found is I'm caught up in so many little things every day. Emails, this, I got to do that. And my inbox has gotten overloaded, which brings me to my next point. We're going to be hiring soon on the channel. And I'll announce here shortly. I haven't finalized the details, but I'm going to be looking for a personal assistant and producer to help me. And I'm going to be connecting with that individual, whoever we hire, to help me move videos down the line. Right now, I have to do everything from start to finish. Well, not everything. I've got a team that does the bulk majority, but I have to oversee the process is what I'm trying to say. And so we've got editors, we have writers, we're researchers. And so I need someone to come in and help us streamline that process so I can step back. I mean, believe it or not, I'm still creating the thumbnails. I'm the guy that's doing that, and I shouldn't be, right? And so all that to say, we're going to be putting up a job posting here pretty soon, and I'll give the details. And yeah, so that will be an announcement we'll do here shortly. Final thoughts. Look, gang, as always, I know what we covered is heavy. I know there's a lot of things happening in the world. And as I stated at the beginning of the video, I do these videos to help keep you informed. So you understand what are the threats on the horizon so you can prepare accordingly. I'm not going to come on here every day or on the channel and start telling you you're dead in 48 hours. There's enough of that. And my goal is to give you real actionable information to acknowledge what's happening around the world and so you can create real solutions. And my encouragement to you is to stay encouraged in all of this. I have my moments. I'm human like you. Just because I have a channel, it's a blessing and a curse to have 1 million subscribers, right? Because sometimes I get viewed as, oh, okay, well, you got a big channel, right? You should have it together. I mean, look, I'm just like you. I have my good days and I have my bad days. And what I have found as of late, and I'm going to expand on this in a video here in a few days, is there are things that are in my control to determine how I handle what's happening around the world and how those things might impact me. And the biggest thing I've come to, and has really made a big difference in my life in the last 6 months, is focusing on my physical fitness. And you're going to hear me beating this drum a lot. I've had some people that got pretty upset at me saying, hey, stay in your own lane. That's not your area of expertise. Well, it is. I have the right, and I will continue to encourage my audience, to inspire you, to try to push you out of your comfort zone. Because I have found, and it's, again, you can look at the data and the science, it proves getting physically fit, eating healthy, getting up and moving, these are all good things to do to keep you out of depression. I say that not implying that anybody's in a state of depression, but I know for me, it's a battle that I have to fight. It's not let my mind slip into the negativity of the world, but rather I have to step back, take care of my health, and it allows me to focus on what's most important and what I can control. And at this time, it's my health. And I will continue to focus on that because I think that's a good goal for me long-term as a prepper anyway. All right, said a lot. If you have any feedback or any thoughts, feel free to post it below. And as always, stay safe out there.